and welcome. Thank you for joining me today. My name's Trish. Today we're doing the monthly predictions for February. Can you believe that it's February already? I feel like I only done the January predictions last week. So there has been a couple of things, quite a few things that happened in those January predictions. I have been putting them in the community page just as they happened so I don't forget. Just makes it a little bit easier for me to source the information and put copies of where the information comes from so you can see as they're happening. Now, some very big things that happened in January was I did say in the big predictions reading for 2025, at the first part of the year there would be fires, earth movements. I had a vision of landslides. I didn't know if that was for the first part of the month, the year, or the last part. I wasn't sure where the landslides fitted in. They did happen though in January, and the volcanoes, and all of those things have happened at the beginning of the year. So we had the California fires, which is still going on in January, and I had that vision, or had those informations come through in the big predictions for 2025. Volcanoes, we had a volcano go off in Japan in the month of January. We've had landslides in Australia and Indonesia, and I had the visions of the landslides. I think that's all. People did say in the comments that the California fires had landslides as well. So I didn't see the footage, but that's what I've been told in the comments. So there was a couple of things else that did happen. I said that there would be downgrade of war, or a battle would be downgraded, and then we had the ceasefire with Israel and the exchange of the hostages. So exchange of prisoner detainees and the hostages being exchanged. Now, I said that there would be a downgrade in the war or the battle. So that means it's opposite of escalating tension. It means that things are getting better. So a downgrade of that, and that did happen. So a couple of other things that happened. There was in the January predictions, there was things about the changes around the who. I think I even said, now I know that I said it, but I don't know which video I said it in. I said who, but I don't know which video. And somebody put a comment and said that you said who, and I know that I did, I just can't find it. But in one of the videos I do mention the who, and I said there's going to be changes around the health industry, and that turns out to be related to Trump signing the order around pulling out from the WHO and the connections with the WHO. So that's going to be major changes in the health industry around that situation. What else happened in January? There was the cards that I wasn't quite sure. I knew I wasn't reading them right. I said that when I read them. I said it's the only pile that I can't quite, I'm not saying it correctly. I'm not saying it like they want me to. And it was talking about a well-known person that was, what did I say about them? So well-known person, disappointed, maybe the people at public burnout, it said, around a well-known person. And it could be that the disappointment coming from the public, or it could be coming from some kind of disappointing outcome. And then we had Trudeau, Canadian president or prime minister, stepping down, or indicating that he would be stepping down. So I think that's what that was related to, although I didn't say Canadian prime minister. I knew that I wasn't reading it right. I should have been reading that one politically, and I knew that I just wasn't reading it right. I did say though that there was some kind of disappointment something disappointing about it, and some kind of public burnt out, or somebody that had been burned. So yeah, I think there was a couple of other things I just can't remember. I haven't made notes, and I do apologize. I'm on the day 4 of a headache. So I do want to bring you these readings today. Today's the 27th of January. So I do want to get these February readings done. If I'm not happy with them, then I'll redo them next week when I don't have a headache. But let's see how we go. Now in my deck, there is 15 extra cards added to this deck that are not in the sale deck that's gone out. It's the upgraded deck cards for 2025. So we'll see if any of those come out today. I'm just trying to work out whether I want to sell them as an addition, or whether I want to put them in a completely new deck, predictions deck. I haven't decided. So I have them in stock. I'm just not sure how I want to sell them or what I want to do with them yet. But let's hope some of them come out so you get to see them today. So I'm going to clear all the energy from January now, and I'm going to just tap in and see what's going on with February 2025. Back. Let's get into this February predictions. Okay, straight away on the table we have the sinking ship. Now last time that came up as the first card, there was a sinking ship. Instantly, as soon as this went up on the internet that day, there was a sinking ship. Now, sinking ships can mean many things. They can mean an industry going down. It's sitting next to the farming industry, which could be the farming industry and indicate that industry going down, or issues around the farming industry or the pharmaceuticals industry, because sometimes in the past I've accidentally called this one pharmaceutical industry. So now I know this card here is either farming industry or pharmaceuticals industry. So it's a sinking ship. So one of those industries we'll hear of things going down in that industry, and it being a bit of a trying to save that industry. Okay, if it's like the farming industry, it's like it's collapsing and they're trying to save it because it's a bit of a sinking ship, or the way things have been run in one of those two industries is a sinking ship. It can't continue that way, and so therefore there needs to be mandates or something going on around to help that industry, or to strengthen that industry, or to redirect funds that go into that industry in a better way. So it's a allocation. I keep hearing like allocation of something. So allocating people, maybe they're allocating people to oversee those industries, or they're allocating funds to be spent in a different way. Something going on with one of these two industries here, the farming industry or the pharmaceutical industry, because the way things are being done at the moment, that industry is a sinking ship. Could be that there's going to be a sinking ship as well. Could indicate there. Now, I have been dreaming about a cruise ship too, because rough seas around a cruise ship as well, and I've been dreaming that a couple of times now, but I don't know if that's connected to me thinking about a cruise ship and going on a cruise ship, or I don't know, or I have been thinking about it because I've been dreaming about it, but I've been dreaming about a cruise ship in big waves too. So I thought, not last night, sometimes I leave my dreams open the night before for the predictions reading. I had a lot of crazy dreams last night, I just cannot remember what they were, but the cruise ship dreams I've had twice in the month of January about something going on with a cruise ship. That could be personal for me, or it could be indicating related to this card here. Now, I did say I hope some of the new cards come out today, and there is a couple of about 4 of the new cards on the table that are going to be in the add-on deck part for it's 15 new cards for the 2025 predictions, which I feel when I created them would be relevant to things that are going to happen in 2025 through to 2030. So one of these things here is red flag, false flag. Here you can see on the table here. We're moving into a different area now with these cards. A false flag or a red flag. Now, I recall hearing something being a red flag. Now, is that a new saying that they're using around the California fires, in being in a red flag situation? Maybe that's something that it may not be new. It may just be something I've heard for the first time on the news. We in Australia, we are big with fires, and we have different scales of how serious the fire danger level is. Now, I heard them talking about red flag. Now, that could be red flag relating to fires. So, because I did hear that, and I knew I'd created that card, and I thought, I wonder if that's the reason why I created that card. And red flag to me generally means warning sign, or a warning signal about something being a false flag or not as it is made to seem. It's a false flag situation could be happening, or it could be a red flag warning situation. So warning, I guess, of pending heightened alert. There is how I'm going to say that. So, for instance, when I think I heard them say on the news about California being in a red flag, I think that means that you're in a heightened state of alertness. That may be your levels. I'm not sure. Please let me know, because we have like a gradient that moves we don't call it red flag, but we have extreme fire danger as our highest. You may call it red flag, I'm not sure, but please let me know. But anyway, red flag coming up around toxic air. So toxic air can come from volcanoes, it can come from fire, it can come from poisons or radiation. There's lots of ways we can have toxic air, and I feel in February we may have something come up around toxic air. Now this could be a false flag because we're sitting next to the false flag card you can see over here. So it could be a false flag operation that's related to toxic chemicals, or it could be an actual, we may hear big news headlines around toxic air from a volcano, from fires, from or some kind of radiation poisoning, or worried about radiation in some way, because toxic air is something you've got to protect yourself from. Okay, moving down to the bottom, we've got the toxic masculinity card down the bottom. Now I'm feeling the energy around here and environmental toxins. Okay, so I'm going to read this in a couple of different ways. There's a couple of things I'm feeling going on here. For one thing, I feel it's we're going to hear more and more news about and it's to do with the Trump signing the agreement around the two genders. I feel we're going to hear more uprising around that, or more environmental factors to do with that. So because we're sitting right next to environmental, I feel like it's like the when people come together for environmental rallies, those kind of things, I feel like there's going to be coming together. It doesn't say that here, coming together of people, but I'm feeling it's environmental. There's an environmental factor around this, and it's related somehow to genders. So in whatever way that is. So it's going to be on the news. We're going to hear more and more about environmental factors relating to genders, gender inequality, gender unfairness, unbalance, people standing up for their rights. Maybe I'm not seeing like rallies here. Not that I'm saying it won't happen, but I'm feeling it would have been here. I would have saw the card, but I am seeing something around environmental factors around masculinity or toxic masculinity. But then I see 3 toxic cards on the table. So this is really relevant for February. 3 toxic cards are on the table. We've got toxic air, we've got toxic masculinity. Now you don't have to read all words when on the cards when they come out, and now I'm reading, and we've got environmental toxins. So I'm feeling definitely there's going to be issues in February around toxin levels, maybe in our waters supply, toxin levels in our air supply, toxin levels, toxic levels. So maybe there's going to be things coming out in February around testing, or looking at how much toxic things are in the environment. So because we've got environmental toxins, so maybe that's going to be addressed in February. Our attention's going to be brought to the level of toxins that are actually around us. Toxins in our food, toxins in our farming industry could be a big thing here as well, because you can see they're right next to each other. So pesticides, all of that kind of thing. So toxins in our foods, toxins in our air, environmental toxins, which means water toxins as well. So separate reading over here, we've got holding power, evidence of scandal. I feel we're going to be hearing headlines in the news over February around scandal to do with holding power. This could be American power politics. This can be the royal family. This can be because we've got Canada and Australia going into elections this year. Sorry, I'm just trying to get this information out here. So going into elections, so there could be usually when there's elections, we start to hear a bit of dirt around the other side. That's how they play. They know politics is a dirty game, and I'm feeling maybe we're going to start to see scandals coming to light around power, politics, that kind of thing. But it could also be the royal family, because you can see there's a royal card here, but that could just be indicating that it's people in power, and we're being shown or brought to light what evidence of scandals around that. So I'm feeling that's either going to be England because of the royal crown here. So their Prime Minister in England, we could be seeing things around him, or Australia or Canada, evidence of scandal with one of those three. But it could also be, we could hear on the news, there could be more things coming to light around Trump scandals. So that could be coming to light as well with one of those 4 countries I'm feeling. Now, normally I don't read and say a country, but I'm feeling it's probably one of those 4, because given that they're just coming into election, they've had their election, which is US, or going into an election, which is Australia and Canada, and I'm getting the England from the royal card here, but I'm feeling political here. Now we've got the heat waves, we've got the fire and the heat wave card on the table again, can indicate that more fires around the world in February. Now, I did say in the big predictions reading for 2025, I felt fires were going to be heavy into probably March this year. So the first half of this year, there was going to be news of fires around. I felt the energy of volcanoes, fiery kind of energy for the first part of the year of 2025. So again, I wouldn't be surprised if there was fires in February, because I did pick that up in that reading there. But it's saying returns to normal. So returning to normal. Maybe where that's the end of that for California, and I'm not saying California's returning to normal, because they're not returning to normal, but I'm feeling maybe it's the end of the fires for them. But I do feel there is fires still right up to fire threats. We've got this red flag notice, this red flag alert that comes in around fires anywhere in the world. Up until about March of this year, I feel that energy there. So we're in red flag alertness response is what the cards are saying around fire energy. And I did feel that it's right up until and I don't really do dates, but I do feel like it's the first half of this year. That's why I'm not surprised to see more fire and heat wave card on the table. Now, sitting out and that came out with those cards was the corrupt dealings. So I feel things may come to light. We may start to hear stories around those fires, the California fires, and corrupt dealings that have been taking place when it comes to the California fires. So maybe the way money was spent, and I'm pretty sure I said that in the January readings. I know I've said it in one of the readings before. Money supposed to be allocated for something, spent a different way, or some kind of corruption around the fires or California. Pretty certain I said that in one of the other 2 prediction readings I done in January, but it's coming out again for February. So we're seeing coming to light more corrupt dealings, or there's more corruption around getting California back to normal. There could be a little bit of corruption going on there now that can be related to insurances, people's insurances, or that can be related to plans that they have to return California back to normal, and the level of corruption that's maybe taken place in building them back again, or doesn't say planned outcome on the cards anywhere. But I'm just feeling it may come to light something going on about returning California back to normal, and the corruption or the dealings that are taking place for that to get California back to normal. I'm feeling with that one there, but still red flag alertness around fires. I'm feeling that's for the first half of this year, not the half, but maybe up to March that I'm feeling. And I feel February, that energy of heat wave and fire is still prominent and on the table around the world. Not all countries, but big in the news. Next, we have mainstream news, drone strike, and surveillance record. Okay, so what we're seeing is something on mainstream news, or makes news headlines, a strike of some sort. This is war, being missiles or drone strikes. Surveillance, we might be seeing footage of it, because you can see here the camera and the footage of it. So footage on mainstream news around a drone strike. It could be drones. We could be getting surveillance coming out around people, what they captured with the drones of New Jersey maybe. That could be coming out on mainstream news, or they could be doing something with that. I don't know, disclosure or doing something with it. I'm not getting disclosure. It's not disclosure. Okay, we're getting big news, mainstream news, headlines. Maybe not big news, but it's headlines around drone strikes. So, and that could be drones, the surveillance of them, people recording them. We may be getting more answers to that. I don't think it's answers though. I'm not feeling answers. I have an answers card there. I don't feel that's what it is. Okay, maybe let's pull another card on that so I can get more information on what's going on with these drone strikes and the mainstream. Okay, keeping something quiet. So plenty of footage of those drones in New Jersey. Lots of people captured it. Now it could be the New Jersey drones or the drones that we saw around the world. People recorded them, and now they're trying to keep it quiet. It gets swept under the rug. Keeping it quiet, but in the mainstream. So how would you keep it quiet in the mainstream? So you may call it something else. You may not be telling us what it really is, trying to keep the truth hidden here, keeping things quiet around those drones. Now, this could be the drone strikes, it could be Ukraine, Russia, could be drone strikes in the Middle East, or it could be the actual drones that were surveillance. Now, whether we're going to see more, not certain about that, but I feel like it's in the news, but it's keeping it quiet. So the truth is being kept quiet there. Let me just see if there's anything else that you can pull out for February. And I have a new deck. I just want to read a couple of cards out of the new deck too. So February. Okay, so we've got escalating tension, unexpected result. So a little bit of escalating tension happening with any one of these areas. So that could just be like the red flag where we go into a heightened state of alertness, but there's escalating tension around one of the areas that's on the table that I've already mentioned. Now this little deck came in for me. It's just a bunch of words, so I just want to pull a couple of cards out of this and just see how we go. I'm not bonded with this yet, so I don't know how real they are. I just want to pull out a couple of cards and see what they say. So we've got a bit of unrest again, card unrest, and we've got tension escalate. So a little bit of unrest in February going on here. We've got a whistleblower. A whistleblower comes to light in February, going to make headlines, whistleblowing about something. So, and it comes to light, big news. Now, it could be domestic lands, so things that take place on domestic lands. Okay. Now, domestic lands indicates when something goes on in a country and it's done by its own people. So something occurs that's done by its own people, not a foreign threat, not an outside threat in any way. It's something that takes place, corruption even, because you can see it's sitting next to that corrupt details, that takes place in its own land by its own people. So an unrest even here. So we've got unrest, we've got the whistleblower, we've got unrest, and we've got in domestic lands, which means in the person lives in that country, they are a citizen of that country, and there's a level of unrest going on around it, and the person's a whistleblower. Now we've got over here, the other card is lockdown. Lockdowns, don't think we're having any lockdowns. I don't think that's the case. I don't know why else it would be on the table. Locking down, state of the nation maybe. Locking somebody up. Maybe somebody is getting locked up. A whistleblower gets locked up. I don't think it's actual physical lockdowns like we had in COVID. It's probably more like somebody being locked up. I think maybe a whistleblower, and we've got something man-made. So maybe we could be talking about the drones. A whistleblower comes out and says that it's man-made. Maybe that's what it is. Not sure. So anyway, these are new cards. I'm not going to put a lot of emphasis on predictions for these cards. I just wanted to see what they say. So let's see how we go for February 2025. I will see you again at the end of the month for March.